The Marlowe Restaurant, Manhattan's most exclusive dining room where million-dollar deals unfold over $30 appetizers. At table 12, tension thickens like fog. CEO Cole Harrison sits across from Dr. Weber and his associate Lucas, two German executives whose investment could save his struggling tech company. The contracts lay scattered between untouched plates of Wagyu beef. Dr. Weber speaks slowly, deliberately. Die Gewährleistungsklauseln sind problematisch. Wir brauchen klarere Definitionen für Lieferverzug. Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. Cole's translator had called in sick that morning. His German consists of bitte and danke schön from a college semester abroad. His legal team speaks only corporate English. The deal, worth $47 million, hangs by a thread of misunderstood syllables. Dr. Weber's patience visibly frays. He exchanges sharp words with Lucas in rapid Bavarian dialect. Their body language screams frustration. Grace Chen approaches with water refills, her server's intuition, reading the table's desperation. She's witnessed enough business disasters to recognize one brewing. The conversation has stalled completely. Cole loosens his tie, sweat beading, despite the restaurant's perfect climate control. Into this verbal wasteland, Grace speaks quietly. Would it help if I translate, then addressing Dr. Weber directly? Soll ich kurz dolmetschen? Ich spreche fließend Deutsch. The table freezes. Every eye turns toward the young woman they'd barely noticed. Grace Chen's alarm rings at 5:30 a.m. in her cramped Queens apartment. Rent due in 12 days. Electricity bill overdue. Her mother's chemotherapy appointment scheduled for Thursday. The insurance that barely covers basics, let alone experimental treatments that might actually work. She pulls on her server uniform, the same black dress she's worn for 18 months at the Marlowe. Double shifts, Tuesday through Sunday. Monday evenings at a coffee shop in Astoria. Sleep comes in 4-hour intervals between jobs and hospital visits. Her Munich degree hangs framed above a desk she never uses. International business with a specialization in German-American trade relations. 3 years at Ludwig Maximilians Universität, living in Bavaria. Thinking in German, dreaming of diplomatic careers or consulting firms that would value her linguistic skills. That was before her father's heart attack, before the medical bills that consumed their savings, before her mother's diagnosis 6 months later, before Grace learned that dreams cost money her family didn't have. The commute from Queens to Manhattan gives her 47 minutes to practice German podcasts, keeping her fluency sharp for someday. Maybe when her mother recovers, maybe when the bills are paid, maybe when she can afford to be something more than a waitress carrying other people's conversations. Her manager barely tolerates her college background, worried she'll quit for something better. The other servers assume she's just biding time. Neither group understands that excellence in service isn't settling, it's survival. Grace speaks 4 languages fluently but serves food to pay for her mother's medicine. She holds a degree in international business but carries plates to keep their insurance active. She dreams in German but lives in English, translating hopes into rent money. The Marlowe provides health benefits after 1 year of employment. Grace has been there 17 months and 23 days. Quitting isn't an option. Neither is getting fired. This morning, like every morning, she reminds herself, keep your head down, do your job. Don't get involved in customer business. The bills won't pay themselves. The Marlowe operates under strict protocols that govern every interaction between staff and clientele. Rule number 1, servers facilitate dining, not business. Waitstaff provide recommendations about wine pairings, not contract negotiations. The distinction isn't just policy, it's survival in a restaurant where average customers spend more on lunch than most people earn in a week. Management trains every employee on professional boundaries. Customers come here for discretion, privacy, and the assurance that their conversations remain confidential. Servers learn to become invisible, present enough to anticipate needs, but absent enough to preserve the illusion of private space. Violation carries immediate termination. No warnings, no second chances. The restaurant's reputation depends on maintaining these barriers between service and business. Too many careers have ended because someone overstepped their role. Grace has watched colleagues fired for offering unsolicited opinions about stock prices mentioned at nearby tables. She's seen managers escort servers out mid-shift for commenting on overheard business strategies. The message is clear: stay in your lane or find another job. The VIP section carries additional restrictions. These tables host Fortune 500 executives, foreign diplomats, entertainment moguls, whose privacy demands absolute protection. Staff assigned to VIP service sign additional confidentiality agreements. Even acknowledging you understand conversations in foreign languages can be grounds for dismissal. Grace knows the rules. She's memorized every clause of her employment contract. Her mother's treatment depends on keeping this job, maintaining these benefits, avoiding any situation that might jeopardize her position. But watching millions of dollars evaporate because of a language barrier creates its own ethical dilemma. Sometimes helping means risking everything you can't afford to lose. The silence at table 12 stretches beyond uncomfortable into catastrophic. Dr. Weber checks his watch with the precision of someone calculating missed opportunities in Deutsche Marks. Lucas closes his portfolio with finality that suggests decisions already made. Cole's desperation becomes palpable. His company's quarterly reports paint a stark picture: declining market share, increased competition from European firms, mounting debt that requires immediate capital injection. This German partnership isn't just growth, it's life support. Entschuldigung, Dr. Weber says, standing slowly. Perhaps we should reschedule when you have proper translation services. Panic flashes across Cole's face. He knows rescheduling means losing the deal entirely. German executives don't grant second chances to unprepared Americans. Grace moves instinctively, her server training overridden by linguistic ability. She approaches the table's edge, not quite stepping into the conversation, but close enough to be heard. "Excuse me," she says softly, addressing Cole. "I couldn't help but notice the communication difficulty. I studied international business in Munich and speak fluent German. Would 3 minutes of informal interpretation help bridge the gap until you can arrange professional services?" The host manager, Jason, appears at her shoulder with warning eyes. Staff intervention in VIP business constitutes a fireable offense, but he also sees Cole's desperation and recognizes the revenue implications of a failed negotiation. Cole looks between Grace and Dr. Weber, weighing propriety against opportunity. "You really speak German?" "Fließend," Grace responds. "I lived in Bavaria for 3 years." Dr. Weber's eyebrows raise with interest. Bavarian German carries cultural weight beyond mere linguistic competence. It suggests deeper understanding of regional business customs, the subtle social protocols that govern serious negotiations. "3 Minuten," Dr. Weber agrees cautiously. 3 minutes. Jason nods reluctantly, understanding that sometimes rules bend when millions of dollars hang in the balance. But his expression warns Grace that this intervention better succeed spectacularly, or she'll be updating her resume by evening. Grace pulls a chair from an adjacent empty table, positioning herself as a bridge between cultures rather than an intruder in their business. The initial translation proceeds smoothly. Grace interprets Cole's earnest explanations about market positioning and growth projections. Dr. Weber responds with technical questions about scalability and regulatory compliance. The conversation finds its rhythm as German precision meets American optimism, but pressure creates cracks in even the most professional facades. Cole, increasingly anxious about time constraints, begins speaking faster, cutting off Grace's translations mid-sentence. His interruptions grow more frequent as he tries to compress complex business concepts into rapid-fire soundbites. "Just tell them we'll handle all compliance issues," Cole snaps during one exchange. "They don't need every detail about our regulatory process." Grace pauses, recognizing the dangerous oversimplification. German business culture values thoroughness above speed. Rushing through critical details signals either incompetence or deception. "Mr. Harrison," she says quietly, "they're asking specifically about FDA approval timelines. Vague assurances might—" "I pay consultants for strategy advice," Cole interrupts sharply. "I need translation, not commentary." The rebuke stings, delivered loudly enough for the entire table to hear. Grace feels heat rise in her cheeks as Dr. Weber and Lucas exchange glances. Her professional dignity crumbles under the weight of public dismissal. Dr. Weber leans toward Lucas, speaking in low Bavarian dialect. "Der junge Mann versteht nicht, dass Geschwindigkeit ohne Verständnis zum Scheitern führt." The young man doesn't understand that speed without comprehension leads to failure. Grace hears every word but maintains neutral expression. Her role demands neutrality even when witnessing her own humiliation. Cole notices the German aside and his frustration bubbles over. Could we keep the private conversations to a minimum? We're trying to close a deal here. The cultural insensitivity hits Dr. Weber like a slap. His expression hardens into polite disapproval that signals the beginning of the end. Grace watches the negotiation deteriorate, knowing she could repair the damage with careful interpretation of cultural context. But Cole's dismissal made her position clear: translate words, not meaning. Follow orders, don't think. She whispers in English, barely audible. You can buy time, sir, but native nuance takes years to learn. The main courses arrive as the conversation reaches its most critical juncture: contract specifications. Legal terminology demands precision that casual translation cannot provide. Grace finds herself navigating concepts that exist differently in German and American commercial law. Dr. Weber mentions Abnahmen in reference to delivery acceptance protocols. Grace translates it as acceptance, but the German term carries specific legal weight regarding inspection periods and rejection rights that the English word doesn't capture. Cole nods understanding, but his follow-up questions reveal he's thinking of simple acknowledgement rather than formal acceptance procedures. The gap between languages becomes a chasm between legal systems. Gewährleistung versus guarantee. Lucas adds, creating another translation challenge. Both translate to warranty in English, but German distinguishes between manufacturer guarantees and statutory warranties with different legal implications. Grace attempts to explain the distinction, but Cole waves off the complexity. Warranty is warranty. Let's not overcomplicate things. Dr. Weber's expression grows increasingly troubled. The casual dismissal of legal nuances suggests either dangerous ignorance or willful disregard for European commercial standards. Nearby tables begin noticing the tension. The Marlowe's discreet acoustics can't contain raised voices and frustrated gestures. Other diners steal glances at the increasingly animated discussion. Jason hovers nervously, recognizing that public business disputes reflect poorly on the restaurant's reputation for providing calm, private environments for sensitive negotiations. The conversation stalls completely when neither side can agree on final terms. German precision demands clarity that American business culture often leaves deliberately vague. Cole's impatience collides with Dr. Weber's methodical approach. Grace sits trapped between cultures, watching millions of dollars evaporate because words mean different things to different people. Grace recognizes the moment when politeness gives way to necessity. The negotiation has reached complete impasse, with both sides retreating behind cultural barriers that language alone cannot bridge. She shifts forward in her chair, addressing Dr. Weber directly in formal German. Darf ich den Satz neu fassen, damit es für beide Seiten eindeutig ist? May I rephrase this sentence so it's clear for both sides? Dr. Weber nods gratefully. Lucas pulls out his notepad, finally seeing productive direction. Grace begins rebuilding the conversation from scratch, not just translating words but interpreting concepts. She explains American business customs to the Germans while helping Cole understand European commercial expectations. In American contracts, she tells Dr. Weber in German, flexibility clauses provide protection through ambiguity. In German business law, protection comes through precise definition of responsibilities. To Cole, she explains in English, they're not being difficult, they're preventing future disputes by clarifying exactly what each party expects. The rhythm changes immediately. Instead of two sides talking past each other, Grace creates a three-way dialogue where cultural differences become collaborative problem-solving rather than competitive obstacles. Both parties begin addressing her directly, trusting her to convey not just their words, but their intentions. The conversation flows smoothly for the first time since the Germans arrived. Jason watches from across the room, torn between protocol concerns and obvious success. Grace has clearly violated every rule about staff involvement, but she's also preventing a spectacular business failure in his restaurant. The atmosphere at table 12 transforms as understanding replaces confusion. Dr. Weber's shoulders relax as complex terms find proper translation. Cole's defensive posture softens when he realizes the Germans aren't being obstinate, they're being thorough. Lucas begins taking detailed notes, translating Grace's clarifications into legal language for future contract drafts. The conversation develops productive momentum as cultural barriers dissolve into collaborative problem-solving. Dr. Weber smiles genuinely for the first time since arriving. Ihr Deutsch klingt bayerisch. Wo haben Sie studiert? Your German sounds Bavarian. Where did you study? Ich habe an der LMU studiert. Grace responds. München war wie ein zweites Zuhause für mich. I studied at LMU. Munich was like a second home to me. The personal connection creates immediate warmth. Dr. Weber attended the same university 20 years earlier. Shared experiences of Munich's beer gardens and Christmas markets provide common ground that transcends business negotiations. Cole watches the easy rapport with growing appreciation. He's beginning to understand that Grace offers something more valuable than translation. She provides cultural bridge building that money can't buy. Other diners notice the changed energy at table 12. Conversations that had been stilted and formal now flow with laughter and animated discussion. The tension that had made nearby tables uncomfortable dissolves into collaborative excitement. Jason approaches cautiously, still uncertain about protocol, but recognizing success when he sees it. The VIP table has transformed from potential disaster into the kind of positive energy that enhances the entire restaurant's atmosphere. Grace maintains professional boundaries while facilitating deeper understanding between parties who minutes earlier seemed headed for complete breakdown. Grace's background emerges through careful questioning from Dr. Weber, who recognizes expertise beyond casual language study. Her responses reveal 3 years at Ludwig Maximilians Universität, studying international business with focus on German-American trade relations. I worked part-time as a concierge at the Vier Jahreszeiten, she explains in German. Helping international guests navigate Munich's business culture taught me that successful communication requires understanding context, not just vocabulary. Her university thesis examined cultural factors affecting joint ventures between American technology companies and German manufacturing firms, precisely the type of partnership Cole hopes to establish. The academic knowledge combined with practical experience creates credibility that surprises everyone at the table. Lucas asks about her transition from international business to restaurant service. Grace's answer reveals the personal circumstances that redirected her career: family medical crisis, financial obligations, the practical necessity of immediate employment with health benefits. Dr. Weber's expression shows understanding rather than judgment. German business culture respects family responsibility as highly as professional achievement. Her choice to prioritize family obligations actually enhances her credibility in his eyes. Cole begins seeing Grace differently, not as hired help who happens to speak German, but as an international business professional whose circumstances temporarily placed her in service roles. Her insights about German commercial law demonstrate expertise that his expensive consultants haven't provided. Jason observes from across the room, wrestling with policy implications. Grace has clearly violated every protocol about staff involvement in customer business, but the results speak louder than rules. Table 12 has become the restaurant's most successful interaction of the day. The contradiction creates administrative headache. How does management handle an employee who breaks rules but saves deals? Grace's intervention succeeded where professional protocol failed, but precedent matters for future situations. Other servers watch with mixed emotions. Some feel proud of Grace's success. Others worry about expectations for language skills beyond job descriptions. The incident will inevitably change how management views staff capabilities and limitations. Grace herself remains focused on the immediate situation, helping Cole and Dr. Weber navigate remaining contract details while staying aware that her job security hangs in the balance of Jason's decision about rule violations. The conversation reaches its most complex point when Dr. Weber introduces specific German commercial terms that have no direct English equivalents. Grace realizes the negotiation's success depends on explaining these concepts accurately rather than simply translating words. The main issue, Grace explains to Cole, involves Lieferverzug delivery delay provisions that German law treats differently than American contracts. They're also discussing Incoterms DDP versus EXW, which determines who bears responsibility for customs shipping and delivery risks. She turns to Dr. Weber, speaking in rapid German. Wenn wir Lieferverzug an DDP koppeln und Gewährleistung klar von Garantie trennen mit 10-tägiger Nachfrist, passt es? If we link delivery delay to DDP terms and clearly separate legal warranty from manufacturer guarantee with a 10-day grace period, would that work, Doctor? Weber's eyes light up with understanding. The solution addresses both parties' concerns about delivery timelines and legal protections while respecting different commercial law systems. To Cole, Grace explains, they'll accept DDP terms with a 10-day grace period for delivery issues. The key distinction is between warranty, meaning manufacturer guarantees, and legal warranty, meaning statutory consumer protections required by German law. If we structure the contract to respect both systems, everyone's protected. The breakthrough moment comes when Grace pulls out her phone and shows both parties a diagram of international shipping terms she'd studied at university. Her academic knowledge provides visual framework for understanding complex logistics arrangements. Under DDP delivered duty paid, she continues, your company handles all shipping customs and delivery costs to their German facility. Under EXWX works, they would arrange pickup from your facility and handle international transport. The liability and cost structures are completely different. Cole finally grasps the implications. DDP terms mean higher upfront costs but clearer delivery obligations. EXW requires less initial investment but transfers logistical complexity to German partners who prefer controlling their own supply chains. So if we agree to DDP with the 10-day grace period, Cole asks they're comfortable with our delivery commitments. Dr. Weber nods enthusiastically as Grace translates. Exactly. And the warranty distinction protects both parties. Your company provides manufacturer support while they handle any additional consumer protection required by European Union regulations. Lucas begins drafting preliminary agreement language, incorporating Grace's suggestions. The legal framework she's provided gives both sides confidence that final contracts will reflect mutual understanding rather than competing interpretations. The solution emerges from Grace's unique position as someone who understands both business cultures academically and practically. Her university education provided theoretical framework, while her service experience taught her how cultural miscommunication destroys otherwise viable partnerships. This is exactly what we needed, Cole admits. Not just translation, but interpretation of what these terms actually mean for our business relationship. Dr. Weber agrees completely. Precise language prevents future disputes. Ms. Chen has given us foundation for successful long-term partnership. The deal that seemed lost to language barriers now has clear path forward thanks to someone who understood that successful international business requires cultural fluency beyond mere linguistic competence. The transformation at table 12 doesn't go unnoticed. The energy shift from tense frustration to collaborative excitement creates ripple effects throughout the Marlowe's dining room. Other patrons sense the positive change, though they can't identify its source. Cole stands suddenly, his enthusiasm breaking through usual business formality. I need to say something publicly, he announces loud enough for nearby tables to hear. This young woman just saved a $47 million partnership that was falling apart due to language barriers. The admission draws attention from across the room. Diners at adjacent tables turn toward the unexpected drama unfolding at the VIP section. Grace Chen, Cole continues, demonstrated exactly what American business needs: more of cultural competence combined with professional expertise. She didn't just translate words, she translated meaning, context, and opportunity. Dr. Weber joins the acknowledgement, speaking in accented but clear English. In Germany, we have saying, Sprache ist Brücke, zwischen Welten. Language is bridge between worlds. Miss Chen built bridge where we saw only walls. The spontaneous recognition creates moment of genuine warmth and environment, usually reserved for calculated networking. Other diners begin nodding approval, recognizing excellence when they witness it firsthand. Jason approaches the table, his earlier concern about protocol violations transformed into administrative opportunity. Grace, I'd like to discuss creating a new position, client language liaison. Part-time role with significant pay increase, focusing on international business support. The offer represents unprecedented recognition of skills typically invisible in service industry. Grace's linguistic abilities, previously seen as personal assets irrelevant to her job, suddenly become valuable professional resources. Additionally, Cole adds, I'd like to sponsor German language workshops here at the Marlowe. German for service professionals, helping staff understand the international business culture. Grace would lead the program naturally. His quote becomes the moment's defining statement, talent deserves a microphone, not a muzzle. We've been wasting human potential by limiting people to narrow job descriptions. Conversations at nearby tables shift to discussions about hidden talents among service staff, language skills that go unrecognized, cultural competencies that businesses overlook. The incident sparks broader reflection about how organizations identify and utilize employee capabilities. A food critic dining anonymously 2 tables away discreetly takes notes, recognizing story potential in the evening's unexpected drama. Her eventual review will mention exceptional cultural sensitivity and staff excellence beyond traditional service boundaries without identifying specific individuals. Social media posts begin appearing within hours, carefully anonymized accounts of amazing international business mediation by a restaurant server that generate discussions about language education, cultural competence, and recognizing talent in unexpected places. The evening establishes new precedent for how the Marlowe handles international clientele, while demonstrating that excellence can emerge from any position when opportunity meets preparation. 3 weeks later, Grace signs her new contract as client language liaison, working 25 hours weekly at nearly double her previous wage. The position provides financial stability while maintaining flexibility for her mother's medical appointments. Her mother's treatment progresses well, stress reduced by improved insurance coverage and Grace's increased earning potential. The experimental therapy becomes affordable through Grace's new position's enhanced benefits package. The inaugural German for Service Professionals workshop attracts 12 Marlowe staff members, plus employees from 3 other high-end Manhattan restaurants. Grace's teaching combines practical vocabulary with cultural context, helping service professionals understand international business etiquette. Cole's partnership with Dr. Weber's firm moves forward successfully, their contracts reflecting the cultural understanding Grace facilitated. The collaboration becomes model for other American companies seeking European partnerships. Dr. Weber sends Grace a Christmas card from Munich, written in German. Bridges built with understanding last longer than those built with steel. The message resonates beyond individual success story. Grace's intervention demonstrates that respect is a basic right, regardless of job title or economic circumstances. Language becomes bridge not just between cultures, but between assumptions about human potential and reality of hidden talents. Her story proves that extraordinary capabilities often hide in ordinary circumstances, waiting for someone brave enough to speak up when the moment demands it. Ever seen a single skill save a table and a deal worth millions? Tell us about hidden talents that changed everything in the comments below.